Versatile date night, office wear, casual partying, and summer fragrances. Why is it that us fragrance nerds love to categorize fragrances? In my channel and in our own brand, Atrium Fragrance, we categorize our fragrances into 5 different categories as well. I think it's a very important tool to make sure you have variety in your collection. Let's explore how to categorize fragrances into each of these 5 different categories.
I got a sample of Mr. Romantic the other night and I really enjoyed it. So far, the early stages of this is very enjoyable. I think it's so well done. Powdery, spicy, sweet, creamy. Not too much of anything. Not too much of anything. I don't know. This one makes me want to try the others. Specifically, Mr. Maritime. I'm going to buy Mr. Maritime.
Now bear in mind, you can categorize fragrances in different ways. This is the most beginner-friendly, most functional way to do it. So these 5 categories are all relating to lifestyle functions. The idea is that you have fragrances that you can grab for different scenarios, sort of like you have a Swiss knife model of your own collection. You can do anything you want with it. There are other ways to categorize. You can do things like going to the fragrance family wheel and picking out different perfumery families through that way, or you can say you want one good fragrance for each season as well. There's different ways, but I think this is the most beginner-friendly one. I think it's the one you should focus on when you're first collecting. The versatile category. This is the first fragrance we release in our own brand because, in my opinion, every collection should start off with your versatile Dumb Reach. A fragrance that you know can just work in anywhere, any situation, all year round, and you know will give you good longevity. In my opinion, this fragrance needs to be good for both the daytime, the nighttime, all 4 seasons. It needs to be a very balanced fragrance, and it needs to last you at least 8 hours so you know you're getting reliable performance. This is why this is a classic for this category, Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. Look at the note breakdown of Bleu de Chanel on Fragrantica. The Eau de Parfum shows you have a balance of those fresh top notes, so the mints, the citruses, and then you have the more nighttime-esque notes such as the ambers and the incense. Your nose and your common sense will tell you some notes are just more designed for the nighttime. If a fragrance is full of notes like tobacco, vanilla, amber, or I don't know, coffee, you know these are very intense and dark notes. That is going to make a fragrance more suited to the nighttime, whilst daytime notes are going to be things like your fresh lavenders, your citruses, aquatic notes. Your versatile fragrance should be a balance of both these dark and daytime notes to give you that versatile signature you're looking for. You want something that's safe when you're first collecting versatile fragrances. You can go for the less safe stuff later on, but generally go for something more easy to wear. Again, a dumb reach, keep this versatile and easy to go for. Another perfect example is Acqua di Gio Profumo. Look at the note breakdown. You've got the citruses and the aquatics, the daytime notes up top, and then you have your incense and patchouli down below to darken it up and create this Acqua di Gio flanker that's very balanced and very much a signature. Also another versatile scent, gives you 10 hours longevity, so it fits the bill. So to summarize, a versatile fragrance should be safe fragrance, one that can be worn both day and night, can be worn any of the 4 seasons, lasts you at least 8 hours. Then we have the date night category or the evening category. This is the category I say you should have a nice classy fragrance that can be worn for those seductive scenarios or just when you want to be classy. You don't want to be brash and annoying with this category. This is where L'Homme Idéal Extrême fits the bill. Plum, vanilla, tobacco, patchouli, a sort of rummy Coca-Cola effect here as well. This is easily an obvious evening fragrance. It's an evening scent when you smell it, and that's why it fits the bill of this date night or special occasion scenario kind of fragrance. So if you don't want to wear your usual versatile dumb reach fragrance, you want something a bit more fancy, this is the kind of fragrance you go for. You want to go for something essentially that's warm or sweet and has a softer projection. If it's too loud, it doesn't really work for this kind of effect. Let's say you're sitting in a really fancy dinner next to someone important and your fragrance is just too loud, you're wearing red tobacco and you're just killing them, it's gonna ruin the vibe, so don't be that guy. For this scenario, you want to be a seductive individual, you want someone to have an excuse to come closer to you, you don't want something that's too loud, so go for softer projecting, warm or sweet fragrances. To clarify, obvious warm or sweet notes are going to be things like vanilla, patchouli, tonka bean. So by that example, you can also go for something like Chanel's Allure Homme Eau Extrême if you want to go for a more fresh take on this kind of category, but you want to go for a date, let's say during the daytime. So it's a fresher take on a date fragrance. That's why I think Chanel's Allure Eau Extrême is a perfect example of a daytime, date night fragrance. Overall though, I feel like you should keep this category mainly suited for nighttime fragrances initially as you're building up your collection. Next is the office category. In this category, you want fragrances that are going to give a fresh, clean and professional feel to themselves whilst not being too loud again. Same kind of vibe applies. You don't want to be choking people out in the office. You're going to be annoying and hated in the workplace, and there's already enough beef and drama in workplaces as it is, so don't be that guy. Don't have hate unnecessarily because, again, you're wearing red tobacco in the office. Why are you wearing red tobacco so much? You don't wear that fragrance ever. It's too annoying. A perfect example of this would be Terre, the original. So this fragrance focuses on fresh and clean notes such as the orange, the ISOE Super gives a woody effect. However, what differentiates, let's say, a light and clean, fresh summertime fragrance to an office fragrance would be that office fragrances have very obvious base notes that make them smell a bit more serious, mature, and more professional. If you want an easy guide, basically any fragrance that has notes of iris, woods, vetiver, or a clean suede note are going to be safe bets for an office fragrance. So I have Terre here, which is a vetiver based fragrance. You can go for something like Green Irish Tweed, which is based on green notes. You can go for something like Kenzo's Homme Eau de Parfum, which has that mature suede note in there, so it'll also make a good office fragrance. None of these fragrances are too loud. They have a classy amount of projection that make you smell clean and professional for this environment. Next is the clubbing or partying category. I don't go clubbing myself, and a lot of people don't, but this category is still useful. It's not necessarily just for clubbing. It's basically the idea that sometimes you want to turn heads, you want to grab people's attentions, you're in a loud environment. It could be a gig or a festival or just, I don't know, some boat party. I don't know what you get up to, but anyways, you have a lot of stimuli around you and you want to just turn people's heads. You want those kind of fragrances that fit into your collection. You want something, you want to really impress. You want something that's loud in this scenario. It's appropriate to wear these fragrances. In my opinion, this category is warm or sweet, similar to date night scenarios, but now instead of a softer projection, you're going all out loud. So a perfect example is Azzaro's The Most Wanted. Loud, sweet, toffee, and amber, a really sexy, playful scent. So I think a good clubbing fragrance should have a playful vibe to it. And I think because, again, it's the evening time, the warmer, sweeter notes take more precedent, in my opinion, than fresher notes. I know people like to wear fresh fragrances like Sauvage to the club, but as I said, you're gonna wear that during the daytime. It may not change your mood enough because you feel like you just wear it all the time. It doesn't get you in the right mood enough. It smells generic. You wear that during the daytime. Get your specific specialty fragrances for the nighttime, for the clubbing events. So other obvious examples would be something like actually Moschino's Toy Boy could work because it has a sweetness to it and it's loud. Ultramal by Jean Paul Gaultier. Versace Eros, a very obvious one, or even potentially Mancero's Red Tobacco, although it's not very safe, so maybe not every girl will find it sexy, but hey, it can work in this scenario. And finally, the summer category, or just a hot weather, spring, summer category. In this category, you want something that's light and fresh. It's sort of like the office DNA, taking away those heavy bass notes now. You want fragrances that get you in the mood for the better weather, so any fragrances that focuses on citruses, aquatic notes, or tropical fruit notes are going to be easy ways to identify if a fragrance is designed for the summertime. Here's a perfect example of a summer fragrance. This is Mugler Cologne Come Together. To me, this smells like a very obvious bergamot fragrance that is very top notes citrus heavy, so this is definitely a citrus fragrance. Focuses on top notes of neroli as well, so it's bright and clean, and some musk. It's very simple, but you can tell it's a very light, airy, fresh fragrance that in the high heat will not annoy you. If you don't know, high heat causes fragrances to activate more, become more intense, and it can become headache inducing when you can't even breathe because it's too hot and humid. So you want the light, airy, fresh stuff. So think office DNA without the heavy, serious bass notes that were previously mentioned. Other obvious examples are fragrances like Versace Pour Homme, Light Blue Intense by Dolce & Gabbana, or Creed's Virgin Island Water, which gives off that tropical fruit effect I was talking about. And that concludes the video, guys. Did you find this guide helpful? Is it useful to you to categorize fragrances in this way? We made a video previously about categorizing fragrances into seasons, how to categorize and identify fragrances for each season. This video I think is more beginner friendly. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think of these 5 examples I've given? So this is a very easy example in this video. If you collect these 5, I think they're all beginner friendly. Maybe Terre can be a little bit challenging, but it's very pleasant, I think. I think you can get all 5 of these fragrances, you'll have a well-rounded collection. That's the idea of categorizing fragrances. It gives you variety, it makes sure none of your pickups are redundant. And I think that's very important when you're collecting fragrances. So if you found this video helpful, guys, let us know down below as always. And if you haven't, check out our categorizing seasons of fragrances. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.